In July, the US passed a wave of new crypto laws, and they change everything. Donald Trump is leading a financial revolution when he's rewriting rules for cryptocurrencies, monetary policy, and the entire US economy. And this revolution can change how you get paid, how you spend, and even what you spend. In a few years, you may not be even using US dollars at all. Hi, my name is Vitaly. I am an economist. I am a boring mainstream economist, and in this video I am going to talk about the new crypto laws. Watch this video to see how this quiet revolution could reshape America's future. In July, the Trump administration launched a tidal wave of new laws. The Clarity Act, the Genius Act, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act. And these laws are doing three things at once. They feed high inflation, they expand the already record public debt, and they strip the Fed of any influence in this financial revolution. Let's review them one by one. Here is the big shock. The new laws ban the Federal Reserve from issuing the digital dollar. It's now illegal for the Fed to even consider it. This is in contrast to what the rest of the world is doing. For example, China is testing the digital yuan in 25 cities with 260 million users. 260 million users! Think about it. India is launching the digital rupee. Saudi Arabia and UAE are launching a new currency this year to replace the US dollar. They just gave Donald Trump a royal welcome and realized, oh shoot, we've got to get rid of dollars. But the US is an outlier. It's exceptional. What is normal for central banks around the world is now illegal for the US Federal Reserve. By banning the CBDC, the US has now joined Poland and Ecuador. Donald Trump hates Jerome Powell, the chair of the US Federal Reserve.
Oh, he's a knucklehead.
And this is his most deadly attack. He's reshaping the American banking, and he's making the central banker powerless to stop it.
Stupid guy.
But what is illegal for the Fed is legitimate for private companies. Under the new rules, private companies can now issue their own currencies, stablecoins, as long as they are backed by dollars or treasuries. But here is the twist. The US dollar itself is backed by nothing. It's backed by nothing since the Nixon shock of 1971, when President Nixon cancelled the gold standard. So, the stable coins will be backed by dollars, and dollars are backed by nothing. That's double nothing. 0 plus 0 gives you 0. Do you remember the 2000s, when American banks were taking mortgages and repackaging them as CDOs, and those CDOs were backed by mortgages, and those mortgages were backed by homeowners with no job, no credit history, and a zero down payment? The US banks were taking garbage and making it nice, but it was still garbage. And the US loved it. Until it didn't, until the housing market crashed and the Great Recession hit the US. And now President Trump is doing something similar. He allows private companies to create their own money, backed by dollars, backed by nothing. The president is creating a new bubble, the new financial bubble in cryptocurrencies. President Trump has just doubled the money supply. Because for every dollar a company has, it can now issue stable coins, so the money supply doubles. And for every treasury, a company can issue stable coins, so the US money supply expands even more. These are the measures of the US money supply, and Donald Trump made them all useless. He made the entire economics useless, which is sad, because he added shadow currencies to the actual US national currency. So now the actual money supply equals them plus stablecoins. And this balloon of dollars, stablecoins, treasuries, bitcoins, meme coins, Trump coins. Yes! And this balloon of real money and fake money will be floating inside the US, creating one bubble after another, driving prices up. To issue stablecoins, the American companies will need dollars and treasuries to back them up. So the companies will be buying treasuries. More treasuries, more debt. Trump has just found a way to inflate America's already record-breaking public debt. Right now, the US public debt sits at $37 trillion. That's 122% of GDP, or over $100,000 per person. Yes, if you live in the US, your share in the national debt is over $100,000. That's worse than Japan, worse than Greece. In fact, the US makes Greece look fiscally responsible. How about that? And the rest of the world is watching. Global investors are dumping US bonds, including countries you would never expect. China, yes, that makes sense. But Japan, Saudi Arabia, they are the longtime friends of America, allies. But even they are dumping US bonds. The US public debt is so toxic that even friends are backing away. Will it work? No. Even though the US companies will be buying treasuries, that will be a drop in the ocean. Because the US public debt is so big that companies can't replace China and Saudi Arabia. But if companies can't replace China and Saudi Arabia, then the US will have to reduce prices for treasuries, and low prices for bonds imply high interest rates, and high interest rates imply high inflation. High inflation again. It looks like all Donald Trump wants is to bring high inflation back. Everything he does is for that purpose. And you know that if you work hard, you never give up, you will succeed. And Donald Trump will succeed at bringing high inflation back. This is Donald Trump's crypto revolution. Yes! Private companies will be issuing their own money. The Fed is useless, and Donald Trump will create bubbles in the stock market and cryptos, and he will bring high inflation back. Do you agree with me? Are you excited about cryptocurrencies? Put your comments below and watch this video, why Donald Trump's strategic reserves in bitcoins is a big nothing. Watch this video now. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next time.